The question of whether Jesus in the Bible and Isa in the Quran refer to the same person is a matter of significant theological importance. According to Islamic teaching, the Quran is considered eternal, uncorrupted, and the final revelation from God. This presentation will demonstrate that the Isa described in the Quran is fundamentally different from the Jesus presented in the Bible, making them distinct persons rather than different descriptions of the same individual. Let's begin by examining their identities. In Christianity, Jesus Christ stands at the absolute center of the faith. He is worshipped as Lord, considered the focal point of all Scripture, and regarded as the way to salvation. The entire Christian faith revolves around his person and work. In contrast, Isa in Islam occupies a peripheral role. He is one prophet among many, not worshipped, and his story comprises less than 1% of the Quran's content. This fundamental difference in centrality reveals two entirely different figures. The missions of these two figures are equally distinct. Biblical Jesus came with a specific redemptive mission: to seek and save the lost, to give his life as a ransom for many, and to die for the sins of humanity. His purpose was sacrificial and salvific. Quranic Isa, however, came merely as a moral reminder and a sign to the people of Israel. There is no redemptive mission, no atoning sacrifice, and no universal salvation message. These are not simply different emphases, but fundamentally incompatible purposes. Consider also the question of authority. Biblical Jesus spoke with divine authority, claiming equality with God the Father. He declared that all authority in heaven and on earth had been given to him. He forgave sins, accepted worship, and made claims that only God could rightfully make. Quranic Isa, by contrast, possessed only prophetic authority. He explicitly denied being God, directed worship away from himself, and functioned solely as a messenger delivering God's words. One claims divine prerogatives, the other explicitly rejects them. The accounts of their deaths present perhaps the starkest contrast. Biblical Jesus was crucified, died, was buried, and rose again on the third day. The crucifixion and resurrection form the cornerstone of Christian faith and are attested throughout the New Testament. Quranic Isa, however, was not crucified according to Islamic teaching. The Quran states it was made to appear so, but he was neither killed nor crucified. Instead, he was raised to heaven without experiencing death. These accounts are mutually exclusive and cannot both be true. The ontological nature of these figures differs fundamentally. Biblical Jesus is presented as the incarnate God, the Word made flesh, fully divine and fully human. He is worshipped as the second person of the Trinity. Quranic Isa is strictly a created being, a prophet and servant of Allah, and the Quran explicitly condemns the worship of Isa as shirk, the unforgivable sin of associating partners with God. One is divine, the other is emphatically not. Some might argue that these differences result from biblical corruption, suggesting that the original gospel matched the Quranic account. However, this argument fails on Islamic grounds. The Quran itself commands Christians to judge by the gospel and describes it as guidance and light. If the gospel available in Muhammad's time was corrupted, the Quran's commands make no sense. Moreover, the Quran claims to confirm previous scriptures, yet it contradicts the Bible on fundamental points about Jesus. This internal tension cannot be resolved by claims of corruption. The logical conclusion is inescapable. Biblical Jesus and Quranic Isa possess mutually exclusive identities. One cannot simultaneously be God and not God, be crucified and not crucified, claim divine authority and deny it, or be central to faith and peripheral to it. These are contradictory attributes that cannot belong to the same person. Therefore, we must conclude that biblical Jesus and Quranic Isa are different persons. If the Quran is eternal and uncorrupted as Islam teaches, and if it presents Isa with these specific attributes, then Isa cannot be the same person as the Jesus of the Bible. The differences are not matters of perspective or emphasis, but fundamental contradictions of identity, mission, nature, and purpose. They are quite simply two different individuals.